place that is the essence of the lowest. And then you send in a woman, Potiphar's wife, and this is her expertise in destroying the kedusha of young men. At the moment of truth, Yosef prevails. Yosef remains the tzaddik. Yosef does not sin, and through the schus of Yosef, Chazal tell us, for 210 years, generation after generation after generation, the Jewish women in Mitzrayim were never taken advantage of. Even though they too, Chazal say they were perfect. They were physically perfect in Mitzrayim. The Jewish women of that generation were perfect in every single physical way. And the Mitzrayim were these lowly creatures. And they had these women as their slaves. They could do whatever they wanted. Not a single case of taking advantage of a Jewish woman except for one, which was a mistaken identity, or Pirsuma HaKosov. In the merit of who? In the merit of Yosef. Yosef is the one that teaches us, no matter how far we've sunk, no matter how lowly the society is, you can stand up and you can stay tall and you can say no. It's the koyach of Yosef. Now we can go back and understand the beauty of this bracha. We live in a very strange generation. A few years ago, I came back from Schmutzlaretz, and my Rabbi, Rabbi Moshe, in the car would often ask me, "Nu, what did you think? What did you see? What did you learn?" I said to him, I made an observation. I said, I noticed that I just see the way I said it, the tarbus of America, yarad, me'atarbus shel yefes, la'atarbus, excuse me, I said yored, me'atarbus shel yefes, la'atarbus shel chom, which means I observed that I see there's a descent of American culture and American society from what is called the culture of yefes, which is based on beauty, to the culture of cham, which, like the word sounds, is based on heat. Heat of aggression, and heat of all the terrible things that are mentioned in Parshas Achrimos and Parshas Kedoshim, all those lowly things. So Moshe looked at me with a smile and says, Menachem, ma אתה אומר, זה יורד? אתה לא יודע? זה כבר ירד. So Moshe sits in Yerushalayim and tells me, it's not going down to Cham, it is Cham. So for example, once upon a time, the music of Yefes. Now I'm not saying that secretly all kinds of lowly things were happening, but the music was poetry. The music had harmony with a certain yofi to it. Last week, I was with teenage kids at the schus, doing kiruv with beautiful, beautiful Jewish boys and girls. I'm sure their great-grandparents in Shemaim were crying bitter tears for our success. But I could not listen to their music that they were listening to. Every other word was a swear word, and those words which were not a swear word, the content, I just wanted to run to the nearest mikveh. And when I made a comment, so they laughed at me and they told me that our little brothers and sisters who are 8 and 9, they know these lyrics by heart. It's a crazy world that we live in. Once upon a time, the Malchus of Yefes, some of you over here are old enough to remember Ronald Reagan. So he, if he wanted to say a bad word, he would say H-E double toothpicks. It's the worst word he would say. Last month, there was a Maisa, a senator of New York, got up in front of a university and used the worst possible word, at least the worst word that I ever know of. And she used this word, and the next day there's a huge debate. Since she used the word talking about the President of the United States of America, and since he also has bad language, maybe it's mutter. That was the Chakira. And nobody stopped and thought and said, you know what? What happened to our society? How come we accept these things? Never in my life would I believe that a student of mine from a Beis Yaakov would send me a shaila, don't worry about Berkowitz, it's not coming your way, about what's the big deal about getting a tattoo? And says, don't just give me the halacha. I told her, when I was growing up, the lowest of society would get a tattoo. Today, you can be the premier of Canada, and everyone thinks it's cool. So everything goes down. Again, I know I sound like a Zeta over here. I am a Zeta. But some of us remember a man called President Jimmy Carter. So there was a zazua, oh my. He was seen in public wearing jeans. And he was the Melech of America. And the last president, by the way, I'm British, so I'm enjoying myself. The last president allows the cameras to come in when he's in his bathing suit. Bli shum busha, no embarrassment. So this is where we've come to. Rabbi Shapiro said that every 3 months is a different door, and mechanchim have to be aware of this. Every 3 months, the questions that we're getting are like more embarrassing, lower and lower. The whole world has become admas b'nei cham. And if you have internet access, you have instant access to every single possible sewer that the human mind can come up with. And then we have the bracha ala tzadikim. We have the Yosef Hatzadik of the 2017 who are living in the new version of Admas B'nei Cham, who say, this will not happen to me, and this will not happen to people I care about. So the Ala Tzadikim, who are the Tzadikim today? My Rabbi Rav Wolbe Zatzal used to say that the Gedolim stories are written by the Balei Tshuva. Rav Moshe used to love the stories I used to tell him about kids that used to walk 10 miles, 5 miles each way to go to a shul that you and I wouldn't step into. Behind their parents' back, the girls used to light candles in their rooms. They should not be caught, like in Soviet Union. There's one story I want to share with you. There's a young man, who's 17 years old. And he had a nisayon that I cannot speak out loudly. It was a nisayon literally of the same proportions of what Yosef had to deal with in Mitzrayim. And he told me he does not want to sin. Not only that, he wants to go to yeshiva and he wants to keep halacha. Can I help him? And Baruch Hashem, I did everything I could to help him. Yeshiva took him in, which was incredibly brave of them. And he was Oimid ben Nisayon. I told this story over to my Rabbi, and I saw his eyes tearing up. And he asked me, what chizuk did I give him? And I told him what I said. He says, Menachem, you forgot to tell him the most important thing. You should have told him, in his chus, Moshiach's going to come. Moshiach's going to come for him, and I'm telling you, Rabbi Moshe would not use that line lightly. When I prepared the shir, and I realized that Yosef, who's Oimid ben Nisayon, comes before Yerushalayim and Mashiach ben David, I understood a little bit the oimik of his words. The people that are Oimid ben Nisayon.